Hey there, welcome everyone. We're so pleased that you have joined us today. I'm Cindy Flores, a travel advisor at Whitaker and Deprez Travel Partners. Today, I'm joined with my co-host, Laura Daniels, also a travel advisor at Whitaker and Deprez Travel Partners.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're bringing you a wonderful presentation of Crystal Cruises. Our star of today's show has over 30 years in the cruise and tourism industry and has traveled the world extensively. His passion for cruising with Crystal Cruises is evident. He is Christopher Cestari, and he's our Strategic Business Development Manager at Crystal Cruises. He's headquartered in Miami, Florida, but thanks to technology, he's here with us today, and he's pleased to join us in introducing you to the most magnificent experience. Chris is here to share with us some experiences you will find while yachting and expedition cruising with Crystal. He will also highlight the next generation vessels that Crystal is proudly introducing and discuss some new promotions on their river and Caribbean voyages. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is Chris Cestari.
Thank you so much, ladies. I am very proud to be a part of the team here at Crystal Cruises. As you mentioned, I've been for many years in the industry. I started with Cunard Line in New York City during college, and I ended up with them, never dreaming I'd stay in this industry, for 10 years on land and then 2 years on board their ships, living on board and selling on board, doing world cruises. So I'm very happy to be back in the cruise industry with Crystal. That's very much like the old Cunard Line back in the day. We are going to tell you about the collection, and I'll show you more slides so you understand more. Crystal is having their 30th anniversary this July. We're proud to say we're in business 30 years. And we started out with just 2 vessels, and now we're growing and growing. We have a new collection of river yachts. We have an exploratory vessel that we're building, and we have a yacht. And I'm going to show you in depth the 4 different programs. Next, so there's Crystal Cruises, which are our ocean vessels. They are the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity. Crystal River is headed up by our Crystal Bach, Crystal Mahler, Crystal Raval, and Crystal Debussy, all named after musicians. Then we have the Crystal Esprit, which is our small yacht. And finally, we are building our Crystal Endeavor that will launch next year in 21. Heading up some of the collection, we do also have aircraft which are available for charter. The Crystal Sky, which is a 777 Boeing that's been fitted for only 88 lucky guests with flatbeds. And then we have a 13-seat jet that a lot of people charter as well. So we're very well known for our service, our space, our quality, choices, and destinations. You are awarded every year by Condé Nast Traveler, and the awards are up right now as we speak. So we're hoping to receive those as we do annually. These are some of the other participants, as well as Virtuoso, which you happen to be a part of at Whitaker and Deprez, and we are very proud to be members of Virtuoso, and your clients will benefit with special amenities because of your relationship with Virtuoso and Crystal. These are some of the other beautiful accolades we've received, and now we'll get into the 4 ways to sail. So the ocean vessels you now know are the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity. We've always been known to include all of our beverages. That means everything you drink, from a cocktail before dinner, to an iced tea at the pool, to a Coke at the minibar, or a bottle of wine at dinner. All of your beverages and premium spirits are included. Gratuities, no tipping is required at all throughout any of your voyages with Crystal. So that's the clarity point on the ocean. Our new river collection, our yacht collection, and our expedition collection, we're also enjoying complimentary beverages, gratuities, but also the shore excursions, which is new. So we're even including shore excursions on these new 3 categories, and we'll get into that as we go through. So on the river collection, we have 4 vessels, the Bach, the Debussy, the Mahler, the Revel, and they're only 106 guests with 68 crew members. So it's very luxurious, and it's a very small atmosphere, which is nice. Then we happen to have a little yacht called the Crystal Esprit, which is our chairman's vessel. She's only 62 passengers, 31 accommodations. So it's like living the life for 1 week on a friend's yacht, whether you're in the Seychelles Islands or you're in Europe. And finally, we have the Endeavor, which will only be 100 cabins, 200 guests in the height of luxury, going to places like Antarctica. Okay, so getting back to the cruises, this is going to give you a quick
What makes a memory last a lifetime? The kind you never tire of retelling, even decades later. One that warms the heart and carries you to wondrous points of view. Reviving childhood interests. Elevating your spirits. Giving birth to new aspirations. Moments of kinship. Where the little touches touch you and tiny details delight. Where each day holds the promise of infinite possibilities. Where beauty is tasted. Life celebrated. Masterful moments shared. Moments that bring you closer to those you love. Inspiring new adventures, new outlooks. Moments that renew you. How do you make memories that last a lifetime with the world's most awarded luxury cruise line?
Good. Okay. So I hope you got a feel for the luxury of not only the hardware, but also the service. We're known for our service. There was also some different restaurants that you got to see. So I'm happy to tell you about the different opportunities you'll see that we have. We're known for Nobu, which is the famous Japanese chef. So there's the only seafaring branch on the seas, on Crystal, and it's called Umi Uma in Japanese, which means seahorse, which is our logo. So we have Umi Uma, and we have a specialty chef named Piero Silvaggio, who is Italian, and his restaurant is called Prego from Beverly Hills, California. So he also has a beautiful Italian restaurant on board that's Northern Italian cuisine. So those are the two dining rooms that are separate and apart from the main restaurant, which is called Waterside, which is continental cuisine. This is a shot of one of the beautiful outdoor eateries. It's actually a Chinese restaurant, which is outside. This is some of the beautiful food. So the places where we have the different restaurant venues, Marketplace, which is a Brazilian churrascaria, where you could go for different types of meats and fish and vegetables. Then we have the Silk, which is the Chinese restaurant outside and covered over with the awnings. And then we have the Trident Grill, which is a place where you can go for a burger, for a hot dog, for something on the grill. The Bistro, which is a place which is almost open 24 hours a day, where you could always get a glass of wine, a latte, maybe some cheeses, some pastries, some savory dishes. And then you have Waterside, which is continental cuisine, everything from lamb chops to lobsters to steak and vegetarian options. And then you have Umi Uma, which is the Japanese restaurant, and Prego, which is the Italian restaurant. And obviously 24-hour room service for meals if need be. Entertainment on the ocean vessels is very grand because you have the space. So we're typically employing Broadway-like reviews with large staff. Now we're going to move into yachting, and the yacht is called the Crystal Esprit. And we mentioned that it's only 31 accommodations, 62 people. So from January, February, and March, she does 7-day cruising out of Mahe in the Seychelles Islands, which is a perfect beach, and more beach destination. And it's a very active ship. And we're getting a lot of honeymooners and younger travelers who are into the water, into the destination, because it is far to get there. And a lot of people couple this up with Africa, because in the Seychelles, you're very close to getting to Nairobi and doing safari. So it works very well if you're combining that. So 7 days, beach, and more beach, and gorgeous, gorgeous waters. Then she moves away in the spring to Europe, to Croatia and Italy and Greece, and does beautiful Mediterranean cruising and the coast of the Dalmatian coast of Croatia, which is very, very in big need these days. And I've been there and it's beautiful. So 62 people, 90 staff, unbelievable service. It's like being on a friend's yacht. The accommodations start at 225 square feet, and that's little cones of caviar. How do you like that? It's not all that fancy though. We have great food too. Okay, this is a quick video.
Can we go somewhere new, some special place I've never been? I'd like to do something crazy. We should try to run away. It's been so long since I've been myself. I tend to forget so fast how to live excitingly. Let's run away, very far away. Let's stop the time and enjoy this life. Let's run away, very far away. Let's stop the time and enjoy this life. Let's run away, very far. Let's stop the time and enjoy this life. Let's run away, very far. Let's stop the time and enjoy this life. Let's run away, very far away. Let's stop the time and enjoy this life. Let's run away, very far away.
All right, so the yacht. As you saw, there was a tiny little pool, but there's a lot of complimentary excursions and water sports, so it's really attracting an active client. 60 is the new 40, we like to say. We're getting a lot of empty nesters that their kids might be out of the house or in college, and they have the funds, and they want to experience something different and small and intimate. So that's something that you might want to share. Next, we're going to talk about expedition, because there's a big bucket list need to go to see the penguins, and we're going to take you there. So we're going to be showing you a vessel that's not yet built. She will launch in May of this coming year out of Japan, actually. And her voyages will take you from Japan over to Ushuaia to begin cruising to the Penguin Highway. So 100 cabins, 200 guests with 206 crew members. So it's 1-to-1 for service. The ship is going to be super technology. She'll be soul sufficient and will not need to follow an icebreaker, because many of these cold water destinations you have to follow. Years ago, you would have to follow an icebreaker. You no longer need that with technology. She'll have 2 helicopters, she'll have submersives, and she'll include complimentary excursions in these beautiful parts of the world. This is a 2-tiered solarium where you can sit and look at these beautiful glaciers and see the wildlife, and then be taken to see it
firsthand. Everyone will have a parker, and they will have binoculars, and you'll have booths, and there'll be a mud room to keep your boots. The dining will be very similar to the ocean. You'll also have umi uma or nobu on board, as well as prego. Here's a quick little video.
From the world's most awarded luxury cruise line comes the world's largest and most spacious luxury expedition yacht, Crystal Endeavor. Built to PC-6 Polar Class specifications, with a sleek design and anchor-free dynamic positioning technology to explore the farthest reaches of Earth. From the Arctic to the Antarctic and faraway lands in between. With the largest butler-serviced veranda suites, each a private sanctuary with room to roam, and lavish comforts that welcome you after days spent exploring. Elegant settings featuring Crystal's acclaimed cuisine and welcoming hospitality. An expansive spa and generous social spaces not found on any other expedition ship. Perfect venues for sharing stories of adventure with your friends on board. Led by a team of expedition experts, Crystal Endeavor's guests will experience immersive adventures, wilderness landings, and extreme discovery. Come explore lands that few have ever seen on intrepid, all-inclusive journeys that defy imagination. Come discover Crystal Yacht Expedition Cruises, where luxury roams freely. From the world.
Okay, so I hope that gave you a little taste as to what we plan on doing next year. This is now the collection that's doing very well, Crystal River. And as I mentioned, there are 4 river yachts. They're identical. There are 106 guests only, or 53 cabins, with 68 crew members. The river collection includes beverage, gratuities, and all of your shore excursions. I've had the pleasure to do the Tulip and Windmills cruise, and I've also done a beautiful Danube cruise, and I'm going to explain what we offer. Our river is only in Europe. We're doing the Rhine, the Main, the Mosel, and the Eye or the Tulip cruising out of Amsterdam. We are not in Egypt yet. We are not in Asia. We are not in the Americas, and we're not in France, actually. So we're sticking to the itineraries that are most popular, which are really Rhine, Danube, and Tulip cruising. So the vessel, as you can see from the shot, the ships were built for Crystal cruises, and they're brand new, more or less. So they're the youngest fleet on the European rivers at present. And they have electronic windows, which we're going to go over and I'll show you. They are floating down these gorgeous rivers, and we're taking you to cities that people want to go to. And we're doing wonderful, beautiful complimentary excursions that you could do right after breakfast and then even after lunch. So what do we feature? Just like on ocean, complimentary beverages, complimentary gratuities. There are butlers in all of the suites. We include all of the shore excursions. So you really know before you leave what it's going to cost you. And really, it's as simple as that. So let's go through and we'll show you some shots. These are the public rooms on board. This is the bistro, which obviously with things that are going on in the world, things are going to change. So we're going to have all served foods and nothing that will be accessible to the guests without being served to you. Okay, but this is an area that you can go for a latte, for a glass of wine, for cheese, for delicious pastries. Oh my God, especially in Europe on these vessels, they're making beautiful breads and apple strudel and unbelievable things which you'll love. Moving forward, there's an enrichment program on board all of the ships, basically. And a lot of the time, it's before one arrives to a destination that the enrichment group will tell you about where you're going. Okay, this is a little shot. excited to go. I can't wait to go. So, River, one of the things that I mentioned was taking a tulip cruise myself. Was one of the best experiences of my life. Every day was so active. I actually was exhausted at night after the day was finished. So basically, a typical day on the tulip and windmill cruises, we would wake up and there's a small little gym if you need it on the ship, if you want to work out. Then we would have breakfast. Then after breakfast, I would take the 10:30 in the morning walking tour with the guides. We have buses that follow the ship. So our guides will be waiting for you at your footstep once disembarking the vessel. And you take a, let's say, 10:30 walking tour of a city where you might arrive. And you'll join the guide, and we do smaller groups. We don't do tremendous groups. We do about 20 people per group. And we would go with the guide, and they use a quiet vox, which is something that's in the room, and you put it in your earbud, and they click onto you, and you click onto the guide. You can hear their every word. And we would follow the guides and do these beautiful city tours. And then they would say to you after the tour was over, after about 2 hours, would you care to stay in town and have lunch on your own and make your way back to the ship? Now, typically, it's walkable from these city centers to the river embankment. But I never once took them up on that. I would always go back to the ship dreaming of what kind of soup was it going to be today for lunch and all of the wonderful food that was at my disposal. Why would I eat in town when I have a little yacht waiting for me? So I would have a wonderful lunch, and then after the lunch, I would go on a biking tour every afternoon where we employ a company that brings the bicycles to the ship, and they have 2 guides that will give you a little vest and a little helmet, and you would follow the pack. And we did extensive biking, which was amazing. They had e-bikes and they had regular bikes available to us. And we would go every day, and it was typically the same 20 people every day that would do this. Out of 106 guests, it was about 20 people a day that would do the biking option. And you would literally go on ferries with your bicycle and really see the terrain and visit islands like Noord off of Amsterdam. And then there was always a little break where they took you to a beautiful cafe for some gorgeous coffees and beautiful strudel and beautiful desserts. So it was really a fun day. Back to the ship, showered, and went at 7 o'clock for a drink at the beautiful lounge, saw a little entertainment, and then went right to dinner, like as if I had never seen food before. And we would literally have a wonderful dinner and then go back to the lounge at night and listen to the entertainment. And typically on river or on yacht, we employ 1 or 2 man shows that are usually pianists or guitarists and singers. And I was lucky on my river cruise on the Tulips, we had a husband and wife team that were amazing. So that's kind of what you're doing as far as your day is concerned. On the Danube, I was lucky enough to take part in a musical event that Crystal will do on all of our Danube cruises. And in my trip, I was lucky enough that it was at the Belvedere Palace in Vienna. So, for example, that evening after dinner, the captain invites everyone on the buses to take you to the Belvedere Palace, where you're met with a flute of champagne in true virtuoso style, if you will. And we would then go see the Klimt paintings in their galleries. And it was all the famous gold paintings of history.
And it was amazing that they were right there in front of you. And then, after you visited the gallery, you were taken upstairs to a concert hall overlooking the whole palace, where they played and had an orchestra with ballerinas and dancers. It was all the waltzes you've known your whole life. It was an amazing, life-changing evening. And that's all a part of our Danube cruising, is a musical event. It could be in a different venue. Now you're going to see some things that are going on in way of specials. Right now, because of the laws and the reasons we can't go to Canada, we have changed the itinerary of the Crystal Serenity to bring her to Miami and to San Juan, Puerto Rico, with stops in the Caribbean such as St. Bart's and Jamaica, and beautiful destinations that are in keeping with this itinerary. These are 7-day voyages right out of Miami or San Juan in the month of October of 2020. They will make their way all the way through to November and into December. And we were highlighting fares from as low as $13.99 per person, and they have special amenities with them.
Hey, Chris,
I'm
really
gonna-
quick question.
sorry?
You're breaking up a little bit. Is there any way you could talk a little bit more into the microphone?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Sorry about
yep.
that.
It just,
Can you
it
hear me
was
now?
breaking up for a quick minute. Thank you.
All right, very good. So these are specials on the Caribbean that are happening in October, November, and December. And the fares for November and December are a little higher, and you can check with the agency for their availability. Solos, we're proud to say that we're giving 125% for solo travelers that take the cabin alone. That's sole occupancy. And that is also based on availability. Children are allowed at $199 as a third in the room. How do you like that? We're very kid-friendly too, by the way, on Crystal. Next, families. We definitely are multi-generational friendly. So a lot of times grandma and grandpa will take their children and their grandchildren, and they'll have a wonderful holiday experience. These are the itineraries that we're highlighting. So you're leaving Miami, you're going to St. John, you're going to St. Bart's, you're going to St. Martin, and you're ending up in Puerto Rico. Then you'll start in Puerto Rico, you're going to Ocho Rios, to Georgetown, to Grand Cayman, to Costa Maya in Mexico, and ending up back in Miami. So that's something new. Then we also came up with Crystal Assured Savings. If you are interested in a savings and you want to make an open booking, which means you're not committed to any specific voyage, you can do so for only $500 per person and experience a 2.5% savings on your future trip. And you can ask the agency for more details on that. Now, this is something that's really doing very well for 2021. It's called the Advanced Purchase Savings on River. We have 70 voyages in 21 that could either be the Tulip cruising, the Danube cruising, the Rhine cruising, and the Mosel River cruising. And these are 7-day trips, and we're doing a special fare of $36.99 per person, but it is a non-refundable entity. So this is good if you know where and when you want to be next year. And if you take advantage of this while it lasts, it's a very good savings. It could represent almost like 50% off, because many of the voyages during peak season could be well over $7,000 a person. And this is starting in the S1 category, which is one of the larger accommodations. And it works its way down based on availability to an S4. A point that I didn't mention about the river ships that we built, if you saw in the video and in the slides, the window is actually electric and there's a remote. So one would be able to open the top pane of the glass and it would go down to the bottom, and there is literally a wooden bar in the middle, very much like what you see behind me. And you literally could be looking out of your whole accommodation, feeling as if you're on your own private veranda. And then if one would want, you can hit with the remote another button and a screen would appear so that you would be protected from any insects. But meanwhile, it's really a nice way to give you an outdoor accommodation, but yet not taking away the space from the interior, because that's very important on a small ship. We're also making things a lot more flexible. So we have reduced deposits for 21, 22, and 23 to only 15% instead of 25%. So these are ways that we feel that are helping you to feel confident and to book in the future and have a much more flexibility. We're only also doing $100 per guest on certain bookings for this year. Okay, so these are, we've even reduced our cancellation penalties and dates to make it flexible for you to travel with us. And again, these are just some more terms that the agency can tell you about. We have some programs while things are closer to home, if you will. If you look on the Crystal website, you'll see things like on a Sunday evening, you can make a cocktail with our chef, or you can make a special meal that you might enjoy on board. We even have the entertainers on certain nights. These are the social media sites that you can enjoy Crystal. And now you're aware that we have an ocean collection. I didn't mention from January through to April, one of the ocean vessels will do a world cruise. That means from January to April, one of the vessels will be in the sun in warm destinations, taking you away from the winters here in North America. And the other ship typically will do a myriad of itineraries out of Europe. Sometimes we do Alaska, sometimes we do New England and Canada, sometimes we do Caribbean, okay? And now you know we have a river product. Our rivers are only Europe. There's no France, but there is the Rhine, there is the Main, Mosel, Tulip cruising on the Eye. Then we have a yacht called the Crystal Esprit. She does January, February, March in the Seychelles to Paradise, Robinson Crusoe-like, and then she'll move to Croatia and Italy and Greece in the spring all the way through to the fall before returning back to the Seychelles. And last but not least is our lovely new Endeavor that's going to launch in May of 21, doing cruising from Ushuaia round trip to Antarctica and many other wonderful destinations that are bucket list winners. So I want to thank you very much for being with us today. The agency is our preferred partner. Whitaker and Deprez is our favorite. So please come to them and they'll tell you all about what's new with us. And I thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. That's an incredible experience that you've shared with us today. I have one question. You've actually made me very hungry today with all of the wonderful food.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, impressive. With the dining, guests oftentimes will ask, do I need to make reservations in advance? Is this the case with Crystal, or is it an open type dining?
Well, it's open seating for meals completely, but the beauty of having Noble and Prego on the ocean ship and on the new Endeavor is that we have something in advance before the passengers get their tickets that they can do at your agency is pick the nights that they want to go to Noble and to Prego in advance so they can be pre-arranged. When on board, there's a lot of flexibility though. So for example, if one night you don't want to go to the continental cuisine where it's called Waterside, you can walk over to the Chinese restaurant that's outside, out on deck, and you can reserve with them right there with the maitre d'. You might even want to say to them the night before, tomorrow we're thinking of coming with this couple that we've met. We're going to be a party of 4. So there is a lot of flexibility with Crystal. We no longer have regimented times for meals. Years ago, we used to follow that rule of thumb where you had an early choice or a late and you couldn't change. We're no longer doing that. By adding these other specialty dining rooms, it's given us the flexibility to make it open seating for all voyages. I hope that helps you.
Yes, that's great. And I also, you mentioned the ages and that your family, are there programs that are specifically designed for children, or is it for the child?
Yes, on times when the schools are closed, typically spring break and holiday cruises, there is a children's room on board the ocean vessels, which has toys and it has supervision. They don't change or feed children, but they monitor them, and mothers love it because they could just let their kids go and enjoy, and they're free. So yes, we're very kid-friendly. When I mentioned multi-generational families, especially through Virtuoso and through your agency, this is something we've experienced for many years, grandparents taking their children and their grandchildren on these special voyages that could become a memory and a lifetime experience. So we are very kid-friendly, yes.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, you've presented a beautiful product. We're so excited to share this with our guests. And I think that we have quite a few clients who would find this experience on one of the 4 different perfect. So I thank you very much. And Cindy, I don't know if you have a final word to say.
You know, I am blown away. I think it's a fantastic option for our clients. I'm really excited to start sharing it with them. So Chris, you know, on behalf of myself, Cindy Flores, and Laura Daniels with Whitaker and Deprez Travel Partners, we can't thank you enough for doing this presentation for us. Super excited, like I said, to share this with our clients. It's fantastic. All the options, the food especially that you shared, like just was making my mouth water. So really great. Thank you again. And to our clients, thank you so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate you. Please give us a call. We're excited to get you on any of these voyages. Hope we tempted your palate as well. And we'll be hearing from you soon. 585-442-8901. That's 585-442-8901. So on behalf of myself, Laura, and Chris, thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.